like to help people never pay retail again. Whether it's with coupons or finding the best deal online, consumers can avoid paying full price. I'm joined now by Cotter Cunningham. He is the CEO of Retail Me Not, a website that can help you find the best deal on the products that you love. Thanks for joining me, Cotter.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Cotter, I want to start with the basics first. What exactly is retail?
So I think, retail is just what I call it is the price you start at. I mean, obviously you're never going to be worse than retail, but in some ways it's just a starting point. And so our site, Retail Me Not, is designed to help you not always pay retail. And so we have over 100,000 stores, 500,000 coupons. Almost anyone you can think of is going to be on our site. And the offers they give us range from little things like $1 off or 50 cents off just to try a new product, to free shipping, to really substantial stuff.
What are some of the misconceptions, Cotter, that you hear about retail? Do some people feel they just cannot avoid paying retail, they cannot avoid paying full price, and that coupons are too cumbersome? What are some of the misconceptions that you hear?
It's funny. It's kind of what you were referring to before. I think the thing we hear the most from people is, I just don't have time to fool with that. What's $2 going to matter? And I think, to your point, if you said, well, I'm going to save $2 every day, obviously in a year you saved almost $1,000, and who couldn't use $1,000, right? And so this concept, it's sort of like compound interest in a way. Little amounts add up over time, and so the biggest misconception we hear is that I'm not going to bother to save a few bucks here and there. It's just not worth it. But those add up a little bit at a time. I think that's what we constantly talk to people about. It sounds like you do too.
And it seems like if you can save that $1,000, then you can afford that iPad that you can only get for full price. You can afford those luxuries in your life that sometimes seem unattainable.
No, that's exactly right. And I think, to your point, it would probably, most people kind of need a goal. So whether it's, I'm going to lose 5 pounds, or I'm going to run a 5K or something like that. Sometimes with savings, I think it works the same way. You say, well, I'm going to save up a certain amount of money so that I can then, buy a new laptop.
When's the last time, Cotter, that you can remember paying full price or retail for something, and remember what it was?
I actually know this all too well. This is pretty funny. So our washer and dryer broke, and my wife is a little laundry obsessed, and had a very specific make and model in mind that she wanted. And we bought it, and we did not necessarily get a great deal on it, but we had exactly what we wanted. So yeah, I think it was a washing machine, about a month ago.
About a month ago. So it really does speak to the fact that, it's not that you're always out there searching for the deal or the cheapest. It's more that if we can cut back on even 60% of the things that we buy, then we are, like you said, those $2, $5 here and there, it does add up to a substantial amount of money.
No, that's exactly right. And I think the internet has changed shopping, obviously, in so many ways. But one of the ways it's changed is in the information available to you. I grew up in a small town in the South, and there were 3 stores, and I guess in theory you could drive to each one, but if you wanted, kind of a commodity item, a case of oil for your car, something like that, you were going to wind up buying it at one of those 3 stores. Well, life is so different now. You can literally buy the item you want almost anywhere. And so the question becomes, can you spend a few minutes to find the best price possible? And then, there's different ways to achieve that. You can compare prices, you can use coupons, you can look at kind of deal sites like we own one called dealstobuy.com. That every day they find kind of 150 great deals that they believe are out there on the web. And, it's a nice way to kind of see what's available, what's hot, what's interesting.
Cotter, you touched on this just a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, is there a best time of year to buy and a best time of the week to buy when the best deals are out there?
I think so. It does vary a bit by product. Obviously, products have cycles. And of course we always hear about the famous, white sales and things like that. And when it's bedtime, supposedly there's a best time to buy dishes and a best time to buy sheets and a best time to buy appliances. And those calendars are out on the web. What we try to counsel people is to be less focused on, well, February is the perfect month to buy sheets or something, but more to be attuned to sort of the cycles. Like I mentioned, I think what annoys, usually most people are not in a situation where they're just out buying things just because they want them. They're buying things because they need them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need new clothes for your kids or new tennis shoes for your kids to go back to school, it's fantastic that, your shoes are going to be super cheap in November, but your kid's going to school, now,
Mm-hmm.
in 2 weeks or whatever. So that doesn't do you any good. You need the shoes now. So I think what we counsel people on is to make sure you know what sales are coming up in the next, 2 to 3 weeks or a month. So that way, you can wait a month. You maybe can't wait 4 or 5 or a year. So, right now we're telling people, be sure you're aware that, back to school is coming up. And then, of course, the next big sales after that will probably be, there's a little bit around Halloween, and then you've got some big sales obviously starting right after Thanksgiving. And now Black Friday is so much bigger than just Black Friday. It's almost the 2-week period leading up to Black Friday. So,
Carter, what is one bit of advice that you would give anybody that's out there that's trying to cut back on their day-to-day grocery bills or day-to-day household items, whatever it might be? Is there one thing that you could tell them that they can do today that will help them save some money?
you know, um, probably the one thing that has always helped me. I mean, at the end of the day, I can only sort of speak for myself. The thing that has always helped me is when I am in a situation where maybe I'm spending more than I want to, I keep a financial diary, and I don't do it every day now. I got to be honest, but if I'm worried about my money, I'm trying to figure out where my money's going, I keep a financial diary. Usually in about 2 weeks, you can quickly identify where you're spending your money and then adjust accordingly. And so, for example, if you see you're spending a ton of money at the grocery store, it's easy to say, well, what am I buying? And am I buying a lot of prepackaged foods and processed foods? And without even getting into kind of the nutritional issues of those, just say, well, it's so much cheaper to buy flour, buy corn, buy the raw goods and sort of put something together yourself as opposed to buying prepackaged tamales or something, right? Although you have to be able to cook at least a little bit. That kind of thing so quickly that you hone in on what's not working for you and where your problem areas are. And so that certainly worked for me in the past, and I would always encourage people to consider that.
Okay, well, Carter, thanks so much for joining me today here on Always Save Money and for giving us a little bit of insight on how we can avoid paying retail.